Well, hello, Primerica. Jon Lavin here. Boy, what a privilege to be talking about what we do for families and how we help families and how we make a difference. You know, I'm almost at a loss for words. I've been here 44 years. You know, I started in this business. I had no background in the financial industry at all. And I remember getting an audio tape of one of the top leaders of the company and hearing their presentation over and over and over again. I literally wore that tape out, and at that time, the tape, you could turn the cassette tape over, and there was a different speaker. So you had the same presentation being done by two different people, and I would listen, and then I'd go do my presentation, and I would try to adopt the way they were communicating, and that was the foundation that really built our whole business. You know, we got really, really good at presenting. And several years ago, when we started looking at putting a presentation together, I had the privilege of working with Chris Howard and Christian David and a few others, and we came together and we came up with the ultimate presentation. Well, today I get to talk about the back end, the closing part of that. You've seen over the last several weeks the front end part, the education and the company credibility. You've seen the open, the education. And now we're going to talk about the compensation and the close. And then you're going to be able to go back and watch all the video trainings that we're doing on how to teach the presentation, how to develop our field trainers. So today is going to be fun for me because I'm going to talk to you about like the thoughts behind it. Like, what are the main things you want to think of, you know? And I'd be remiss if I didn't first say hello to my beautiful bride of over 40 years, Patty Lavin, who's been my partner in this since I was 23 and she was 19 years old when we started. And now Zach and Sophie and Fran, our daughter-in-law, and our 3 grandkids. And, you know, I'm just so, we did this for them. You know, we did this, we built this business to have a legacy to pass on to our family. And I could literally say that this legacy's been built for our family. Financial independence has happened for us because of this simple presentation that I learned. And that I learned to communicate these ideas, and other people heard the ideas and said, well, that makes sense. And it all came from the founder, Art Williams, and that original 7. And, you know, our hierarchy is blessed. We've got, you know, the Jenistons, and now the Taylors are on the rise, the Sinats, we've got the Verdes, the Deals. These families are all like solidly, they've done the right things with their money. They've saved and accumulated money. They've built solid businesses. And it was all built from this fundamental. This is what I got good at. You know, a lot of people got good at recruiting massive numbers of people. We got good at recruiting and field training. And today we have some upcomers, the Tranquils and the Howards, who are both at 60 recruits for the month. For our hierarchy, to be at that point, in this point is amazing because we are so into the fundamentals. So my goal would be to have massive recruiting, massive attendance at the convention, and behind the scenes we teach people to be masters at presenting and overcoming objections and closing business. And, you know, I had the privilege about 2 weeks ago to meet with Omar. And I think, obviously, licensing, I mean, if you all think about, you know, our business today, licensing is the conversation, you know, over and over and over. And we look at what Willie and their team have done with licensing. I said to Omar, Omar, what's the real secret? What do they really focus on? And what he told me meant everything to me. And I want to share this with you because once I kind of heard it, I knew this, but once I heard it, it landed. And he said all that they focus on, number one, is recruiting, how to recruit. How do you recruit somebody? How do you meet somebody? And then how do you present to them? And how do you close them into the business, right? How do you get them to say, yes, I want to try. Yes, I want to start. That was the first fundamental. He said then they focus on closing life insurance. I mean, really, if you think about it, that's the first license we get. That's the foundation of the house we're going to talk about now. But we close life insurance. We teach people how to close life insurance. Now, in my world, we would add in, we teach them how to close IRAs as well, Roth IRAs as well. And Omar said that. But they focus on life insurance. And the third focus is sprinting people to district leader. Getting 3 recruits for them, whatever the requirements are for in your hierarchy to go to district leader. But in their situation, it's 3 by 3. There's a bonus that's triggered with that. So now you have a bonus, you have a promotion, and a license, and 3 more people to work with. And so that just made so much sense. I mean, think about that. That's about as simple. If you got really good at all three of those areas, what would your business start to look like? Well, it's all built on the foundation of your presentation. The recruiting presentation, there's a presentation. To write life, there's a presentation. To get somebody promoted to the district, to get started fast, there's a presentation. Your ability as a trainer to really master these basics is your business. And, I don't know how many of you are like into sport. I'm into sports. I love golf. And so I have a golfer my entire life, and now I'm 67 years old. I've been in this business for 44 years. We've built an amazing hierarchy. I'm so proud of Team Lavin Nation. Our family's in great shape, and so I get to golf some. I mean, I know how many of you would like to really work hard so you could do whatever the heck you want to do whenever you want to do it, right? So that's my thing. That's why I did this, to have freedom, to have time, to have money, to not worry, like just to be able to get up in the morning and do whatever the heck it is you want to do, right? How many of you are into that? Anybody? All right. So I played in this golf tournament last week. It was the club championship. And I was leading the club championship. Now, these are older people, but I was still in the club championship. So I'm in the club championship. I was leading after 2 rounds. I get to the 3rd round. And, in anything that you're trying to be great at, under pressure, your weakness will show up. When they start to put the pressure on you and you want to perform at your highest level, whatever your weaknesses are, they're going to show. And it showed. And I had a couple shots that I hit that went in the water, and those penalties cost me. I didn't win. I came in 3rd place. I lost by 3 shots after 3 rounds, 54 holes. Very proud of myself, but I look back and I go, what do I got to go to work on? And I want all of you to start thinking, everybody that's a pro at whatever they do, they look at, what do I need to go work on? What's my area? What am I good at? That's good that you're good at it. But what are the areas, if I shored up these deficiencies, my business could go to the next level? Okay, and I really think for most all of us, it's our ability to present and ask questions and listen to answers and have the ability to figure out, based on the answers we're being given, what's the next question? What's the next conversation? And so the presentation that we've got, this ultimate presentation, I mean, it could be a 4-hour fast start school Saturday. I mean, you could do it in 4 hours. You could take that much time. You could also do the whole darn thing in about 30 minutes. And every one of you, look, regardless of what presentation you are currently using, whether it's a 6-page or a 2-page, or it's on an iPad, or you're Zooming, or you're in person, it doesn't matter. The fundamentals are what? The fundamentals. And you've either got them in you or you don't. So I'm going to dig into this with you today, and we're going to talk about, piece by piece. And we're going to start with the financial house. The financial house. If I had 3 or 5 minutes to explain to somebody what we do, I'd explain the theory of decreasing responsibility, and I explain the financial house. As a matter of fact, if I only had one thing I could explain, it would be the financial house. Because once you explain this house to somebody, they now start to understand the power of money. See, if I asked each of you, what's the goal? What's your goal? What's your win? The goal should be to win, right? We all want to win. What's win to you? What does winning mean to you? And if I went around the room, I'd get all sorts of answers of what win is, what a win is, right? What's a win for you? I'm going to give you the win that I came up with a long time ago when I started, and it's the win that we discuss with all new people that are coming to work with us, and it's the same win that all of our clients need to have. And that, to me, that win is something called financial independence. That's the win. The win is that you get financially independent. And financial independence, as you all know, the definition, that financial independence number, that's the amount of money that you need to accumulate so that someday you could live off that money for the rest of your life, right? And never have to what? Never have to work again. Like, there's an amount of money right now, if you had it, assets, if you had it, and it was sitting in an investment portfolio, and it generated you, let's say 5%, 4 or 5% a year from it, that you'd be cool. Like on $1 million. To me, the first number that should pop in everybody's brain is, I got to accumulate $1 million. I got to accumulate $1 million. Where does it start? It starts with your first $25 a month bank draft, or $50 a month, or $100 a month into your Roth IRA. It starts step by step. But the goal is financial independence. Can we agree that's the goal? How many of you would you say, okay, I'll take that on as my new goal, financial independence? Yes? How many people do you know out there who want to become financially independent? Out of 100 people, if you said, do you want to become financially independent, what are they going to say to you? Yes. And if they said no, you'd run from them. You'd avoid them as quickly as possible. Yes, I want to. Now, and if you say, what does it mean to you? They're all going to give you different answers. But let's agree that financial independence really is built around this house, this simple financial house. And it's like any structure that you build, you got to start with where? If you're going to build a house, where do you start? Foundation. Right? I mean, if you're sitting in this room right now and there was a crack in the foundation of this room and you knew that it could, how long would you sit here? We'd probably all leave. Okay? Well, the foundation of your financial house, the foundation is your income. Your income pays for the whole house. So what do you need to protect? Your income. So we say that the foundation is term life insurance. Basic term life insurance. Now, when you explain what the purpose of life insurance is, there's many different explanations. If you look down here at the bottom, it says the simplest way to determine life insurance need is to consider any future financial obligations that you want to cover. Like, what would happen if you died tomorrow? How fast would your income stop if you died tomorrow? When would it stop? Now, some of you have built big businesses. Your income wouldn't stop. If I died tomorrow, my income doesn't stop. Keeps going. Kids get it. There'd be a funeral. They'd cry and be upset for a while. In about 3 or 4 weeks, people would get on. That's the way it works. And the income wouldn't stop because we've built a Primerica business. But for most people, when they die, what happens to their income? And which bills stop? And what happens to a family when the income stops, but the bills don't? What happens? What do they lose? That's all in the presentation. You all saw it's all in there. I've just internalized it. It's just the conversations I have. But do you think if you've got an insurance license that you're the person that ought to ask that question to people? Who else is going to ask somebody that silly question? I mean, if you weren't in the life insurance business, would you be walking around asking people what happens to your income when you die? Probably not. But we're licensed. We're the ones that have to have the conversation. And you've got to be able to ask people, if you died prematurely, how much income would your family need? Look at this. Income replacement, such as how much income replacement would be needed? How much would it be needed to pay off the mortgage, other large debts, funeral expenses, and kids' college costs? That's called DIME, the DIME theory. It's right there. It's written in the bottom. Now, I remember when I first asked somebody, if you died prematurely, what would your family need minimum a month? I remember that question. And it was really a weird question for me. It was not the question I was going to wake up in the morning and ask somebody. And I remember that it was so weird to me, I had to figure out how to ask it and actually get an answer. And so I said, listen, I'm the person with the life insurance license. This is not a question I actually want to ask you, but since I'm the licensed agent, I have to ask you this. And then I would ask the question. Very simple. You all have to, but you got to ask the question, and you got to wait for the answer. So you protect your income, and then you build second level, you have a budget, you have an emergency fund, and a will. Then the next layer is you crush your debt. You have a strategy to get rid of all of your debt, your bad debt. Definitely you want your mortgage gone by the time you retire. You want the mortgage gone because you don't need as much to retire. Then retirement, savings, accumulating money, your financial independence number, right? College savings, if that's important, and then other goals and dreams that you have. That's the financial house from the ground floor up. And you need every aspect of that in place. And I'll ask people, do you have currently, what kind of life insurance do you have? Do you have enough? Is it the right kind? Are you paying too much for it? You can ask, do you have a plan? Do you have a will? Do you have a plan? What is your debt freedom date? What is your financial independence number? Is sending kids to college and them coming out without any debt, is that important? Other goals and dreams, what else do you want? Those are the kind of questions you can ask on a financial house, and then you ask this final question that comes up, and that question is, so let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? WFA. Looks like it says WUFA, but you know what it means? Wait for answer. So I want you all to do this with me, the audience. Just do this with me. Ask this simple question. Ready? 1, 2, 3, all do it. Ready? Go ahead. On a scale, 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? WUFA. No, you didn't say. I'm kidding. Wait for answer. And what's the answer going to be generally? 8, 9, 10. All right? All right, so now we're going to move. Now we're going to keep moving. All right, so that's that simple little page. So when they say 10, say, great, where do we need to start? And they say with the foundation. And we go ahead and say, do you have any problems with your health? You can go right in and do a quote and close life. So if that's all you were doing in your presentation, you were there to present and close life and investments, you could start there. And then you can move on to the next part of this, which is the recruiting. Now, when you get your ultimate presentation, it's done in a PowerPoint, and you could put the slides in the order that your base shop wants it. And so when I'm doing a recruiting interview, I generally start with the cash flow quadrant. So let's kind of dig in and look at this cash flow quadrant. You know, Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book called The Cash Flow Quadrant. He said there were 4 ways to make money. He said we all need to decide how we're going to earn our money. Okay? So here's what he said. The first way to make money is as an employee. Now, if you'll notice what I did there is I gave Robert Kiyosaki said that, not me. I'm not the one telling people how you make money. He said it. He wrote a whole book on it, many books on it. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. He said most people are employees. That's our whole education system designed for us to be employees. Income's based on a position, not a person, and that's step 1. Most of us go to school, get a job, get a degree, go to work for a big company as an employee. Yes, that's what most of us are trained to do. Well, there's a second option, and that option is to be self-employed. That's where you get to the point you said, I'm tired of working for other people. Have you ever said that to yourself? And you decide, I want to go work for myself. Well, the self-employed, he said, they own their job. They own their job. Basically, if you're a dentist, doctor, lawyer, hairstylist, real estate agent, or salesperson, you can make very good money. Can we agree? But what happens when you stop working? So the minute you stop working, what happens to your income? It stops. So he said both of these parts of the ways of making money require you to go to exchange your time for money. You must go to work to get paid. Okay? He said, well, there's a whole other opportunity, an option, and that's one is to be a business owner. A business owner owns a system. They have others working for them. They have unlimited income via manufacturing or marketing. See, if you own a business, you get to multiply your hours. If you recruit, train, and develop others to do work, let's say you have 8 hours a day to work, but you have 10 employees or 10 salespeople, and they each work 10 hours a day also, or 8 hours a day also. So you got 80 hours from them and 80 from you. That's 88 hours in your day that you learn how to multiply, and you learn how to grow the number of hours that are being worked in your business because of the number of people you recruited, trained, and developed. That's the first time when I'm talking with somebody that I start to set in their brain recruiting. What is recruiting? It's recruiting and training and development. And then the fourth way to make money is as an investor. And the investor, they've got money working for them. They enjoy complete freedom. They've built assets. They've got stocks and bonds and mutual funds and retirement plans and cash and real estate. They are investors, and they can live off their money, okay? So those are the 4 ways. 2, you have to trade time for money. These 2 are passive in that your business pays you. If I quit working, but I got 10 people working 8 hours, I've still got 80 hours a week, 80 hours a day being put in. If I have an investor, I don't have to work. The money works 24/7. It doesn't care who owns it, right? So so then this pops up next. Which 2 ways to earn income would appeal to you most? Which 2 ways? The left or the right? So you notice when I asked you all the question, by the way, this is the audience participation part. You all can participate, right? When I asked you the question, which 2 ways appeal to you most, you didn't answer. So what did I have to do? I had to prompt you a little. So I gave you an answer. I knew you'd give me if I said the left or the right, two options, you're probably going to answer me. And what did most of you say? Right. The right. And where are most people? And so next one. And so what stops them? So if everybody wants to be on the right and most are on the left, what stops them? Well, let's talk about what's up. Fear. What else? Maybe the money, the lack of knowledge. Let's look. I think you got a lot of them. Now we go to the next page. Next page. So what stops people from going to business for themselves? Here's what when you really look at it, they don't have the money. Next, they don't have the time. They don't have the knowledge, or it's risky, or they're scared to death. The fear of failure. And those are basically the 5 things that keep people on the left side of the quadrant. Well, what did Primerica do? What did we create? We created a system that removed all of these barriers. So let's look at each one. So we removed the barriers. One, there's no big investment to get started. For $124, you're in business, and we're going to pay for all your licenses, and you've got your technology package that's all, it's included in that for $25 a month. You run your business. So that's hardly a major investment, right? Don't have the time. Well, the great thing here is you start part-time. 95% of our people start part-time. They add this into what they're doing. They see if they like it. They see if they're good at it. Lack of knowledge. We've got a 45-year track record of teaching you how to do this. A system that you can learn. Videos that you could watch over and over. Home office support to teach you. We have a TV studio to teach you, and you could watch the recordings over and over and over. We will teach you. Risk. Well, we're not going to ask you to quit your job, so what's the risk? And the worst case is you raise your value in the marketplace by getting licenses. You're going to have your insurance license. You're going to have your investment license. And fear of failure? Well, we're not asking you to leave your job, so if it doesn't work out here, what's the worst that happen? You go back and do what you were doing. What's the best that happens? It works. And you learn. And you learn about money. And you're never taken advantage of again when it comes to finances. And you've got these valuable licenses. And by the way, if you don't like working with us, you could use them at any other company. So you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So what have we done with the cash flow quadrant? We've quickly identified everybody wants to be on the right, and they're all on the left. So I've got a lot more slides to do. I'm going to take a little break, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to go through the rest of the slides. And then we're going to talk about AB, and we're going to talk about becoming an RVP, an SVP, getting full ownership, all right? So I'll be right back on. Thank you.